I like to deconstruct it now because I also see the consequence of me as a kid. And I can see how my triggers came about and my beliefs came about, especially with you being clumsy. Like anytime, like I've had to deconstruct myself over the last 6 years with you in our relationship, from you, I don't know, scratching my keyboard to now you putting food all over my keyboard. And the difference between back then and now is now I don't care anymore. But the reasons why I was upset at you initially for you being clumsy wasn't the fact that there wasn't anything wrong with you being clumsy. It was what I saw as a kid. When my parents got into a fight, my dad would yell at my mum if she was clumsy. Like, how could you be so careless? And I was there watching it. And I remember this time that my mum had gone to church and she had all this gold in a bag for some reason. I don't know why mum had all this gold, but she brought a whole bag of gold to church, like all her gold bracelets. I'm thinking maybe because our house had been robbed before.
So she was actually trying to be extra careful. She was just trying to be extra careful. Yeah, yeah.
Mum leaves the bag of gold, forgets it. Forgets it. And then on the way home, for like the next week, not even on the way home, we hear everything about how mum was so careless, etc., etc. The next week, it still drags on to go, oh, you still lost it. And then it staggers the next month. And then, you know, you always bring it up. Do you remember how to do that? Stop like being so cautious. And, you know, dad would bring up things every now and then to reiterate how careless mum was, to almost guard her and guide her. And so in me, when I was watching that, I'm like, oh, carelessness is bad. Carelessness is so bad. Carelessness is don't be careless. Don't be careless. Don't be careless. And that was trained inside of me. And all of that emotion, all of that anger, all of those emotions, being upset, loss, scarcity, fear, anger, that built up in me. So as soon as you were careless...
See, the child is always watching. It didn't even happen to you. It just happened in front of your eyes.
Yeah, and because I saw that, I was a witness to that, I accepted that. As soon as you became careless, I blew up. And you wouldn't know why.
That's how you got taught to react.
You wouldn't know why. And so it was the conditioning and the training that I had as a kid that ultimately led to my own unhappiness. And I'm thinking inside of my mind and my body, it's feeling right. It feels like the right thing to do. And I'm trying to fight for me not being careless and you being careless, because if you're careless, then you're going to be like my mum and it's not good because we're going to run out of food and all of this stuff, right? All of this comes out unconsciously. All of the energy, the rage, the energy, and I don't know where it's coming from. It's automatic, and I think it is my thoughts. That's the problem. I thought these were my actual thoughts. But you were getting an image blown into me, trained into me, conditioned into me over time. And that's one aspect of this. That's one aspect of the carelessness. And another aspect that we're talking to yesterday, we're talking about our first trip to Vietnam. And my conditioning and my training about communism and Vietnamese people. And what happened to that was my dad left Vietnam from the war, from communism, came over here by boat, built the boat, escaped, hates communists. And so the training over time, the everything that I heard as a kid growing up, Vietnam's a bad place, the communists, everyone's after you, everyone's there to get from you, they just want your money, etc., they'll lock you up, etc. This conditioning was feeding me. And how was I in our first trip in Vietnam?
You hated everyone.
Yeah.
I think you validated that everyone was bad in Vietnam because
I only saw the bad.
Yeah.
So we had a great in retrospect, we had a great trip in Vietnam. Like it could have been so much more fun, but it was quite fun. If I think back and I go, you know what, that was fun. Like it was great foods. We tried to start a suit company. So we started to look at people with suits. Everyone was really nice. Actually, they were. But funnily enough, the only thing that I remember from Vietnam was when we were in like Bien Thanh,
the anomaly,
Bien Thanh Mall, or in was it Ho Chi Minh?
Yeah.
And I was trying to barter with this lady, and this was at think of what do you call them? Like a big marketplace. Everyone's got their stuff out. I'm sitting there. I'm looking at, what am I looking at? I don't know. Fake Gucci's at the time. It's all I could afford. And so she's asking me how much you want to pay, right? And she doesn't know I'm Vietnamese at the time. And I'm like, oh, I don't want it. And then she's like, oh, just make me an offer. And then I think I lowball her. And then she starts yelling at me in Vietnamese. She starts shooing me away like I'm a bird, right? She can get away. And then all these other ladies come back, and they're ladies, and they're like 55. And I think they want to take me down. Like they want to jump me. They look aggressive and they look full on. And that image, I was like, yeah, Vietnam's no good. Like, nah. The end, discredited everything. And it's really funny because
I remember all the good stuff.
Do you remember all
because I don't understand Vietnamese, that to me was just a feud. I was like, I don't even understand you. You don't mean, I know you're screaming at me, but I don't know what you're saying, so it doesn't mean anything.
Well, that brought up all the shit that I'd learned.
Yeah.
Everything. So this is why we do the diffusing.
Process,
this is the whole process of, number one.
When I catch that trigger that I had this morning, instead of, pushing it aside, telling Ocean, oh, it's fine, like I'm just talking to your sister, it's fine, or playing it down, or just making it not as what it was I was yelling at Bella. I locked her up in the toilet. I feel
good about that as well. Weirdly enough, I feel good about that.
She stayed in there for 30 minutes.